Okay, hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. We're going to be talking about Venus and Sagittarius today. It's quite a nice transit, and I really want to show you the astrology. We're a little late for time today, so we're going to do a read the room. If you don't know what read the room is, it's a really cool type of reading that I do, in which I do short readings. Not for any sign, not for anyone in particular. They're just messages for Venus and Sagittarius. And if you happen to catch it, if it happened to be for you, then I hope you enjoy it. So we did this with the members many times already, and it works on the principle of kind of connecting with each other, especially live. But if you're watching like the recorded version of the video, then maybe you will get some benefit out of it as well. Okay. The reason I'm pushing for doing the video tonight is that Venus forms a really beautiful angle to the North Node that I wanted to tell you about before. So if I did the all sign, then we would have gotten cut off at the end of the day, like by the last signs, because it would have gotten dark. But I really wanted to tell you about this transit, so here I am. Oh, I know what I'm missing. I'm missing the astrology chart. I've had a lot of epiphanies with Venus in Sagittarius, to be honest. I realized that you guys see a hand and I get so focused on reading the astrology. I'm not like, I have notes, but I don't read off of notes. I'm literally looking at the wheel when I'm talking to you guys. And it dawned on me today how it looks to you. I should know this, but even when I watch myself reading to you guys, I look at the wheel as I'm watching the video. So anyway, Venus and Sag, here we go. So I realized it looks kind of funny, but whatever. I hope you guys don't mind. It's the best way for me to organize the information. So Venus entered Sagittarius on October 17th and will stay in Sagittarius till November 11th. Overall, the energy Venus is experiencing, and we've mentioned this before, but this is just a refresher, from October to November is quite harmonious. She forms a lot of nice angles to the outer planets, which means that our experience, Venus is an inner planet, our experience is in harmony with the outside world, okay? So there's a synchronicity, basically the world is going your way in terms of love and the way that your heart is feeling. And so this is your safe zone. I would say that the energies get a little bit more complicated starting in November. So in terms of our beautiful aspects to Venus, I would cut you off at about October 28th. After October 28th, don't be so laissez-faire about it. Don't be so easygoing. So don't take chances after October 28th. The energy shifts, not onto Venus only, but also onto Mars. So just be aware. So Venus and Sagittarius themes for this year, not just Venus and Sag, but for this year, it's all about kind of getting spunk and getting a taste for adventure and seeking some freedom and having some fun. So I think that when Venus enters Sag, there's this feeling of heaviness. We had this big full moon that was a grand cross. It was just heavy. Mars is facing an opposition to Pluto, applying that right now. And so when Venus enters Sag, and you may have noticed this over the last 4 days, there's like a nice breeze that blows in, a nice energy. So it's all about seeking freedom and adventure. There's some issues to do with money. We'll talk about that in a little bit. There is an opportunity for you to pursue your life's purpose. And this is why we're doing the reading today. So I'll just get into that in a moment. And it has harmonious connections between love and destiny. And so also Venus and Sag in general to me suggests that there is opportunities for financial growth and expansion, but specifically right now, because of the North Node aspect, I do think that that is stronger. So between now and November, somebody asked me about money. This is more fortunate. However, the opposition to Pluto and Mars is intense. But on the other side of that, on the flip side of that, it is a grand kite off of Vesta. So it's a more balanced opposition than it would normally be. So I'm just giving you kind of like pause, you know? So yes. Venus and Sag to me is always really highly social. So a lot of emphasis here is in connecting with others, making connections, and having like a good time. So this is over us at this time. So the transits that I want to focus on today, and the main one is the first one because it's happening tonight. And if you're watching this after, watch anyway, because this transit affects not only today, but it actually flows into the next several days. And we'll talk about that now. And in general, just if you watch this late for whatever reason, then go back in your notes or whatever you do, emails, text messages, and there should be some kind of indication on the energies here. So it's also good to like write down how you're feeling and what you're thinking about right now as Venus approaches a really nice trine to the North Node, and that's happening tonight. Now, it's not just that they're both in fire signs. This is to do with a larger cycle of fire energy that I'm really excited about. But first, let's just talk about the trine itself. So adventuresome Venus and Sag approaches the North Node in Aries, and this really triggers our ability to go after fated connections. If there's something going on in your life that you want to achieve, if there's something that you have been working on or have passion towards, this is like a little bit of a boost. I don't know if any of you played Mario Kart, but before you went at the starting line, you get a little boost, right? And then you get to go faster, and that's how you win the game. You have to catch the boost, and then if you press the button at the right time, then it gives you like a double boost. So if you get the double boost and you're a good player or whatever, you play a lot, then that double boost gets you to win the game. So this is one of those little double boosts that you can take advantage of. It's not a perfect environment astrologically, but this little energy is like a little angel on your shoulder, a little fairy tickling in your ear. So it's not so bad. By the way, I was telling you guys about how I stare at the chart as I'm reading. I also talk to the mic as if it was a person. So right now I'm looking at the mic and I'm talking to it anthropomorphically. Hello, as if I'm talking to you. So a lot of times I'm just talking to the mic. I look at the chart and then I talk to the mic. But I realize you guys are just staring at my hand, so I wanted to kind of break the third wall or whatever it's called. So Venus in Sag is just like a little spark and a little bit of ignition. It gets a really nice start right at the beginning. Remember we were talking about the grand water trine? It gets a really nice connection to the North Node. And we have opportunities like if somebody's if there's love in the air, or if there's connections with people, those can be fostered and they can blossom. It's a time in which if you put yourself out there, you can meet very influential people. Romantic things go really right no matter what sign you are in when Venus is in a trine to the North Node. it's also a time of great personal growth. So you're growing a lot through this time, but it's all positive. It's all like reaching new heights and, improving yourself, improving your circumstances, making the right connections, like I told you, I realized with my hand what it looks like. It's that epiphany in your head. I love when astrology really comes down home and you can kind of see it in action. That's why I'm giving you guys my example of my lived experience. Other things that can happen is you could be having an interaction with someone that is like a life-altering situation. So something can happen very quickly, but think it's positive. It's not a bad thing. We have so much scary astrology to talk about that this is nice. So we have this really nice connection, a spontaneous, I almost feel like, we'll do intuitive readings in just a minute, but it's almost like if you're in the right place at the right time and the right person's there, magic can happen under this aspect. The aspect will be exact right at midnight on tonight, Pacific time. So, New York. So it's going to be actually 9 p.m. Pacific time. So yeah, if you want to go like howl at the moon, it's still kind of full, then go do that. Go make those connections. Also, really be open to making connections with people under this aspect. So if you connect with someone and they're really nice and there's just a nice understanding, don't allow that. And it doesn't mean that this is your best friend, but it means that it's like a nice energy there, right? So be open to it, however long it lasts, or whatever type of connection you're making. So pay attention today to those connections. They're really nice. But this aspect between Venus and the North Node actually carries over to 3 days from now in October 24th, 2024. This is because on October 24th, I didn't turn the active. See, I should have done that. Do you guys mind if I switch the chart and then I'll just show you the dates? That'll be more fun, okay? Hold on one sec. Let's hope it works. No, it didn't work. Hold on. I'll switch it. I know how to fix it. Don't worry. There we go. Boom. Okay, so now we have a working chart and I can switch it so I can show you the days. Okay, so October 24th. This is 3 days from now. We get a grand fire trine because the moon is going to be in Leo and the North Node will be in Aries and Venus is going to be still in aspect to the North Node. So we get this massive grand fire trine, and this is a connection between the 3 fire energies of Leo, Sag, and Aries. It's best for the fire signs. It's good for everybody. It's like a nice spark. I don't know. There's a lot of transits that start showing up in Sag at this time of year, and I always get like the taste of Christmas, and then I reflect upon like, it's really early for feeling festive. I feel more festive in October than I do in December. It's almost like suddenly I get like the desire for Christmas carols or something. Okay. So, grand fire trine, the moon is going to transit through Leo, but it's actually, somebody asked me about this. So I'm going to show you guys now. Somebody asked me about this regarding another transit, but this isn't just a grand fire trine on October 24th. It's a grand earth trine between Vesta, Uranus, and Pluto. Okay, so Vesta is in the anaretic degree of Virgo. She's about to enter into Libra. And what happens is we have 2 grand trines. We have one in fire and one in earth. And so we have this one. It's almost a perfect Star of David. So we have Pluto, Uranus, Vesta, and this forms the kite that we've been talking about. We'll mention the kite again in a minute, but for now we have the first kite. I don't count Vesta for the kite. Sorry, I'm not, but it's still a good energy. And then we have the second grand trine in fire between the moon, Venus, and the north node. And that's going to happen again in the evening on the 24th. If you're in North America, like midnight New York, 9 p.m. Before that. So if you're on the East Coast, it will be like maybe like 9, 10 p.m. And for us West Coasters, it will be like maybe 7 or 5. I'm just estimating. So it will perfect. With moon transits, they move really fast. So I'm just giving you a quick look. So we have a perfect balance of energy between fire and earth. And that grand trine between Pluto, Uranus, and Vesta looks really benefic. It looks really like good outcomes. We have Pluto moving direct through the last degree of Capricorn and the anaretic degree. These are like lessons learned. The other thing that's nice now is Uranus has finally moved off of Algol and Medusa. It's been on it since the beginning of actually since August. So it's been sitting on Algol, and now that it's retrograde, it's kind of separating from it. And even though it's still on top of it, its exact position there is off. One of the things that I heard about, and I'm not being super political, but I need to tell you guys about that full moon. So remember, the full moon was on Discordia, on right here, and Eris, Discordia, the goddess of war. Iran announced that they have a new category of weapon. Not just like, oh, we have a bigger weapon. They have designed, they're not telling what it is, and they said that it's going to put nuclear weapons to shame. Not being political, but in terms of the observation of the full moon on the goddess of war, Pluto, Mars opposition, and Uranus on top of Medusa, the perfect storm, right? So even though maybe, how do I say, cataclysmic events didn't happen as they may have, in the past, that announcement, in my opinion, I think if I were giving you guys advice, track that story. It was from an Iranian news source, so I don't know if it's breaking in other parts of the world yet. Hopefully they're taunting, but I'm guessing they're not. And so, yeah, so Uranus on top of Medusa was bad business, and now it's off. So we have that pressure removed, and we have this Star of David, which is very nice. It's a very nice aspect, and that there's like a couple kites off of that because of that. Yeah, we have a couple kites. One kite is on Venus. That's right. Between the moon, no, I'm being a little bit, no. Moon. But we do have 2 grand trines. Sorry. We have a kite. There's the kite 1. Where's the kite 2? Oh, it's on Uranus. But no, there's no kite. There's no kite. There's only 1 kite. Sorry. But anyway, so we have fire energies activated on the 24th, and then we have also the Earth. I'm a little bit easygoing with the presentation today, but so I want to bring you back to focus because we were talking about Venus trine the North Node in fire, and I told you it's a cycle of fire. So this grand fire trine is very nice while Venus is forming the North Node aspect, and yeah. In a bigger cycle, to understand why this aspect between Venus and the North Node is important, this is a cycle of fire for Venus and the North Node in the planetary synodic cycles. This is because on April 17th, 2024, Venus and the North Node joined together at 17 degrees Aries, about where Chiron is now. And so this is her last cycle with the North Node in Aries. So this is issues of love, passion, but also love for the self. So with this trine to the North Node, we're reminded to love yourself, to reach for the stars, to go after things. If you want some dates, on September 4th, Venus and the North Node formed an opposition. This was a very tense time. Remember, at the beginning of September, this was with the South Node and Lilith here in Libra. So look back to that. That's when, remember I told you guys, because of the kite, a lot of intensity happened. And so on the 3rd and the 4th, look at the news from the 3rd and the 4th. It was like, you know, like on a slow news day, they're telling us about fast food restaurants and all these things. On a busy news day, it's just like crammed. And that was one of the busiest news days that I've seen in a while. So September 4th, 2024, there was the opposition as Venus. Oh, I have, you know what? I can show you. I forgot I used the right chart. Okay, there we go. So we have Venus. Where's Venus? Where's Venus? What did I do? Oh, Venus. No. I wrote down the... Hold on. That's wrong. See? That's why I don't use this chart. Hold on. It wasn't September. Oh, yeah, it was right. It was 24th. That was the 24th. Here's the 4th. So we have the Venus opposition North Node on the 4th of September. And so that was a stressful day, right? And probably affected yourself as well, affected stress levels. And then when we move forward to December, I'm going to mess up this chart, I know it. Hold on. December 9th, 2024, we get a square from Venus to the North Node. And that's going to be like that's going to be a sextile. I wrote down I'm messing myself up in my notes today. That's a sextile. That's good. I didn't write down the square, which is probably a good thing. So we get I see what I was saying. So we get the trine from Venus, where Mercury will be in December, to the North Node now. And then on December 9th, there will be a sextile between Venus and the North Node. So whatever's happening for you now, it could really transform into events that will happen on December 9th. Now, the big deal is that the next cycle begins in February to April 2025. Do you guys want to see it? Because it's really nice. February 2nd, 2025. We get a conjunction between the North Node and Venus at 29 degrees Pisces. Hey girl, hey. So these last two aspects, I'm not counting the square. Today's October 21st and then the one on December 9th are the last aspects in a big cycle in which Venus and the North Node formed their last conjunction in Aries for 20 years, for 18 years. And the next cycle begins on February 3rd, 2025, affecting Pisces. And so we're going to be switching to a completely different energy. This is so close to the exaltation point of Venus. And look at Neptune and even Saturn, but Neptune, Venus, and the North Node. That's going to be really nice. But Venus has a retrograde period at that time. And so she's going to go retrograde through Pisces. And so there will be actually 3 conjunctions that the North Node and Venus will join together on between February and April 20th, 2024. And so, but all of them are going to be in Pisces. So we get this super big start on the Pisces energy. So enjoy the fire energy as we go along, but next is going to be the fire energy. What is my next? Oh yeah, I want to tell you about October 28th. October 28th. Okay, so October 28th, I've mentioned this on the September video, is kind of a big deal because the moon will be forming this kite. Remember I told you guys about the kite? And then on September 4th, there was one. When was the next one? I don't remember. There was another one on October 1st. And then there's a third kite, on September 28th. Okay. So there's been 3 kites while Pluto was in Capricorn for the last time. And these are connected to possible life-changing events. And in world politics, a lot has happened under them. This third kite is the least intense because the previous ones had different aspects on them. Uranus was right on top of Algol. So this last kite on October 28th is less intense, but it's still a part of a grand Earth trine between Uranus, Pluto, and the moon. So benefic earthly energies, and hopefully the kite will help you along. Just as a reminder, because I just realized some people are watching who don't know, but the kite is a supportive energy for the outer planets transitioning between the earth, water, and earth elements. So Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are in earth and water signs, and they're entering Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini. And off of that minor grand trine sextile, there's a kite. And whenever there are transits at the end of Virgo, it activates. And then next year, as they shift into these new energies, we start seeing the kite in the air signs of Libra. Somebody was talking about age of Aquarius. We have another symbolism showing up for the age of air that we are embarking upon, or we've embarked upon already. So it's quite exciting to think about. Okay, so the next energy under October 28th that I want to talk about is the, what was it? Oh, this is a less, so we have the kite, that's the good part. But I forgot I was talking about Venus. I love the kite so much that I'm like, oh, so I forget everything else. The kite. Okay, so Venus will be actually forming a square to Saturn on the 28th, and she's going to form a sextile to Lilith. So this is a less benefic, less positive energy. Well, I don't like saying not positive. It's going to be more stressful during that time. And so to add to this, the moon will be crossing into Libra and forming this kite. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Venus. This can reveal tensions in love, power struggles in relationships, emotional detachment. So people could be feeling very aloof. Relationship restrictions. I think the sextile to Venus, to Lilith, makes it an unhospitable emotional environment. So people feel threatened or they feel scared. So they're more prone to act out or act inappropriately. Okay. There's also like a lot of assessment of commitments because the square to Saturn from Venus has us questioning how things are working. It's a power struggle. And this is the closing square between Venus and Saturn. So now in 2025, they will make a conjunction in Pisces, maybe a triple conjunction even. So the square is prompting us to like check our biases. How do we feel about relationships? Breaking down false harmonies, I wrote down. And in general, there could be severing of ties, all kinds of friction as the planet of structure and order in Pisces. And these are ideological because Pisces is the sign of ideology, which includes religion. And so Venus is in Sagittarius, forging ahead with new ideas, and those new ideas may come into conflict with Saturn. And so the more problematic part of that is that sextile to Lilith makes it a less safe space to have a conversation. And so the square between Venus and Saturn can provide friction, which would be natural and normal. But with Lilith, it's almost like you can't say it, or you don't know how to say it, or it's not safe to say. So you might feel restricted under that pressure. Okay. November 1st, I included the new moon in Scorpio. Because it's happening so close to this other transit, I'll show you guys. November 1st. So we have a new moon in Scorpio. And what did I write about it? It's the reason I mentioned it is because I think we're still on November 1st, under the square between Venus and Saturn, although they are separating. And Venus is applying an opposition to Jupiter. We'll talk about that next. So we're in the environment of stress and pressure. And so this full moon, this new moon, excuse me, will be kind of proxy to everything that's going on. However, the new moon is a trine to Saturn that is in Pisces. Remember, we just had a square to Saturn. And so this energy is hopefully going to help us and hopefully going to elevate us. Another thing that's happening on the 28th and the 1st, which is good, it's benefic. It's a grand water trine between Mercury, Neptune, and Mars, all in the anaretic degrees, except Neptune. But Neptune at 27 degrees is still like almost anaretic. It's anaretic-ish. And so we have supportive emotional energies to like work through these energies, but there's definitely friction between Venus and Saturn. And Lilith can really throw problems, a monkey wrench, into the situation. So proceed with caution. We'll talk about this later as we get to it. Let's use non-astrology language for all of that. So between the 28th and the 1st, I'm guessing that there's going to be some kind of stress or emotional challenge in relationships. Things are going to reach some kind of a conflict point. There will be control battles, power struggles, as Venus challenges Saturn, right? She will challenge Saturn on the status quo, and you may experience friction with other people. So under the 21st, right now, we have this very harmonious energy, like Venus and North Node, like, hey, let's get along. And then under the square between Saturn and Venus, suddenly it becomes full of friction. And so just think about like your planning around that new moon is going to stir up some things. However, the new moon itself, and this is just like a foreshadow, I do think it looks pretty positive. We have this overwhelming, helpful, emotional energy between Neptune, Mercury, and Mars. And I noticed somebody commented and said on Threads that they like Mars in Cancer. And I have to agree. Like, I prefer Mars in Cancer to Mars in Scorpio and Mars in Scorpio and Mars in Aries, to be honest. Not that I just think it's like a nice soft Mars. And so in this dynamic, it seems to me as though there's like an understanding, there's a compassionate tone. There could be some kind of like higher order thinking to do with spirituality, like kindness and like tapping in. And so the connection between Mars and Mercury and Neptune seems coming at a perfect time. But I do think Lilith sextile Venus is going to create some kind of friction on November 3rd. Okay, so this is where Venus really forms an opposition to Jupiter, and she will trine Chiron while Jupiter sextiles Chiron. And at the same time, the moon will be in this position. There we go. So this is November 4th, okay? The day before the election. What did we say about this date? I don't remember. But we definitely have the moon conjunct Venus opposite Jupiter. This seems like it's okay, and it can bring lots of luck into love and relationships. However, it can be also misguided. So under this energy, people can seek love in directions that are not beneficial to like the whole picture of their life. They could reconnect with someone, for example, and to heal something of the past, but that relationship in itself may not be fated to last forever. Okay. So, and when I say relationship, it could be friendship, it could be all sorts of connection. There's this energy here of running towards something with a lot of passion, almost overextending yourself because of past influences. These are the aspects to Chiron. Chiron is sort of opening sextile to Jupiter, and Venus is applying a trine to Chiron. So we have this Venus trine Chiron in the fire signs, Aries to Sag, it's almost like something's hurt and you're trying to prove it wrong, right? Like somebody broke your heart, somebody hurt you, somebody, and you're trying to make up for lost time. And so this is the closing trine. And so you could be overextending yourself to prove yourself regarding an issue from the past that you're trying to outlive. And the sextile to Jupiter, and sorry, I said Jupiter is Chiron is applying Jupiter. No, Jupiter, well, hold on. Yeah, Jupiter is applying a sextile to Chiron. In this position, again, we're contextualizing in the idea of Chiron, of Aries, self-doubt, self-esteem issues, whatnot. And Jupiter in a sextile to this position, what it's signifying is that you may be like pushing your luck against things of the past. Like you could be pushing your luck to achieve something in a direction that might not ultimately be the answer. It's just, you may be drawn to certain things that are fleeting or new or may not stick around forever. Okay, so this energy is positive and ultimately healing, but I think the experience of it can be distracting. The other thing that's going on in this aspect is that our second moon, you guys heard about the second moon. So I looked it up and it's going to be exactly conjunct this position. So I mentioned this in a previous video, but this position is the anti-Jupiter position, which is essentially like the inverse of Jupiter, especially in Chinese astrology. I really like that perspective. It makes sense to me. So if Jupiter is super lucky, the opposite position, the furthest away position from Jupiter, is maybe not the most unlucky. I don't want to scare anyone, but you can derive your own conclusions. And at the same time as that's happening, Jupiter is in this degree of Gemini, we have this moon, this asteroid show up. It's called 2024 PT5, and it's moving really fast, but it's right here at, I think, 19 degrees of Sagittarius right now. By November 4th, it will be like somewhere else, but it's still going to be in these mid degrees of Sag. And so I don't know what that means. It's really high. Its latitude is like 72 degrees. So it's like right at the north. It's right by the Arctic Circle. So it's super high up above us. And so I'm not sure what to think. These things happen. We get second moons all the time. I just think right now social media caught on to it. So, but I do think that like in the context of Chiron, in the context of anti-Jupiter, just be careful of, like I told you in the beginning, the energy we're under now, where you're supposed to seek out connections and, catch vibes. By November 4th, it's looking tricky. Like, are you seeking out love because you have a chip on your shoulder? Are you doing all this? What are your motivations? What are other people's motivations? It just feels complicated, to be honest. Okay. And the last kind of transit that I wanted to talk about is on November 9th. And then we have the Venus square to Neptune. Okay, so this is, again, Venus forms a couple harder squares in November, and your bubble is sort of burst in November. So things are going your way in October and everything's vibing. And then November comes along and Venus starts experiencing bumps in the road, opposition to Jupiter, square Saturn, square Neptune. These are not necessarily easiest energies, semi-square to Pluto in the anaretic degree as well. That's going to be on November 10th, right before she enters into Capricorn. So we get suddenly in November like an energy shift in terms of love, and it becomes more complicated, it becomes more intense. And so again, this is in a planetary cycle to Neptune, and it feels like pretty intense. One thing about that planetary cycle I wanted to point out is Neptune too. All the planets are switching signs. Neptune is leaving Pisces, but we still get one more planetary cycle with Venus joining Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. So they joined for the first time on April 3rd, 2024. And now they are forming this square on November 9th, 2024. But they're going to join again on February 5th, 2024. I put 2021, sorry. And so 2025, not one. Okay, 25 next year. They're going to form a conjunction at 29 degrees. But again, this involves Venus retrograde. And that's tying into that full moon in Pisces. And I told you guys that full moon in Pisces is pointing right to all those retrogrades. Because when those planets go direct, it's all conjunct where the full moon in Pisces was on September 18th. And so Venus and Neptune form 3 conjunctions. 2 of them will be in Pisces. So we get 2 quick resolutions, 2 very fast iterations, and then they will join together in Aries. When is the next second cycle? Oh, on May 5th. On May 2nd, 2024. So essentially we get this really quick timeline between February and May, when we get one more little bitty piece of Pisces energy between Neptune and Venus. And that's really important because Venus is exalted in Pisces and Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So we have this tense, there's an abrupt wake-up call. I'm going to use normal language. There's an abrupt wake-up call. Oh, it got so dark. I'm so sorry. I didn't even notice. We got this abrupt wake-up call from my hand is light, so it kind of fits in, but we got this abrupt wake-up call from November 3rd or so for Venus, and like suddenly there's some harsh realities that we face very consecutively between the 3rd and the 9th. And then it's going to resolve itself come February to May 2025. So if you're experiencing tension in that part of November that I just mentioned, don't worry. It's going to resolve itself by about February to May. And there's like a large cathartic moment, March, April 2025. Okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. Let's do the messages. I hope you guys are having fun. Let's see. Filters. Okay, that's better. See, this is if I didn't... Oh, there we go. I'm white. Okay, so I'm going to do messages for Read the Room. And you guys can just sort of follow along and let me know. If you guys, I can read the comments now, but I'm not going to focus on them. I don't know how many messages we'll do, but just some insight on Venus and Sag. So just in summary, Venus and Sag is wonderful. It starts off light and bright. And then I think that through some of the tension to Saturn and Neptune, it's going to bog her down. And so I just think that like hold your pace and hold your course and look to 2025 for the ultimate outcome or understanding. Okay, that got sort of long-winded, and I think I've been avoiding this reading because I felt that way about it already, but I'm sorry, I'll go faster next time. So we have 6 of Trees, we have the Shadow, which is the Devil, and then we have the 10 of Hearts. There's an energy here. I guess I should have the chart up because I'm talking about the transit. There is an energy here of, oh, that's how I'll do it. So I will use the chart and I'll tell you guys your reading. So this isn't for any specific sign. It's just a general message. There is an energy here of threat. There is an energy here of something unfair and something devilish, right? And although Pluto is in the last minutes of Capricorn by November 9th, Lilith, I think, sextile Venus is, to me, looks ominous. So there could be, you know, but here we're seeing the Six of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups, and that's that grand water trine energy at the end of October. I do think overall there's some kind of fulfillment. Somebody's seeking money. Okay, I'll give you guys the intuitive message for whom this hits. It's not for any specific sign. Somebody is seeking money for ulterior motives. They have but for whatever reason, they're satisfied by what they have, and so therefore there's peace, you know? So there is, like, Lilith can exist. Excuse me. Lilith can be in aspect and nothing may happen, which means that it can create tension or frustration around us and stress our relationships, but ultimately there could be other factors at play. So it feels as though there's definitely, for someone, there's someone who's digging in, somebody who's giving, like, creating problems, and it has to do with money, goal, money oriented motivations. But we have this Ten of Cups, which makes things either, like, I feel like Venus in Sagittarius, and I wanted to do this reading because of this, it has this loving, friendly energy about it. So there are lots of aspects during this time, right to the end, because look, Mars, November, when does Mars enter Leo? On November 2nd, Mars enters Leo. Oh, I said November 2nd, then it gets rough. Yeah, that coincides with Mars entering Leo. And the Mars in those last degrees of Cancer. I am pro Mars and Cancer team. And if you guys want to join me, you can join me. Because it's, to me, it has such a, like, holistic, kind energy to it. So right until November 2nd, November 3rd, we have this holistic, kind, supportive energy. And then I think that sort of in some way deflects evil actions or evil in general. So yes, just, I think the advice I'm trying to give to people, whoever's watching, is that you should be very cautious, or you should be very, don't draw into tension energy. There will be stress around, and there will be the opposition to Pluto. But even this opposition to Pluto is under a kite, right? Because it's a grand water trine. So we have the opposition to Pluto, but it's under a water. It just feels like dialogue and people talking, rising above circumstances. Let's do another message. How are you guys liking it? Do you want me to do messages without the wheel, or do you like the wheel? Do you like me reading with both, or do you want it separate? Somebody asked, I wonder why Veroosh for many years don't show us her face ever. This is because there are people, not you guys, there are people out there that have mental problems, and they do horrible things to people. They envy, but then they want to tear down, all sorts of different behaviors. And so we online don't make a ton of money. We're not celebrities, right? We're just people. And so some people make a lot of money, that's fine, but security costs a lot of money. And so I'm not, like, looking, and I made that decision early on. I said, I'll see how it goes. I'll just do it this way. And in reality, I've constantly been reminded of the fact that it was a good decision, you know? So those people who don't mind. I'm always, because I know, like, with the face, people like it's good, but whatever. I don't know. It's just, it's been we're fine. And plus, I think it's kind of like a radio station, right? When you don't see the face, you guys have your own space and I have mine. So you have you know, your own lives going on in your head. I'm not like in your face with it. Just, I just thought it's fun. And then I think it helps to relate to a broader range of people because, you know, we're human and we have like personal biases and opinions. So it's less triggering for people, you know. It would be so triggering if I showed my face. Yeah, there's also, so I don't know, it's just the way that it worked out, but I think it's, for now, it's good. Okay, so let's do cards. I'm going to do more messages. I'm reading the room, guys. And if you're watching live, just send me your good energy because then I can pick up on it. And then we have the 6 of stars, 7 of trees, 6 of stars. And then we have the retreat, which is hermit. Okay. And so I didn't get a clear answer. Do you guys want me to use the chart for this or just do the cards? Aw, thank you. Allison said I'm lovely. So thank you, Allison. Okay, so we have somebody's embarking on a new journey. This is very Venus and Sagittarius. Somebody's embarking on a new journey that has to do with like money. They're seeking out a like new way to, it's successful. Whatever you're seeking to pursue is going to yield for you good outcomes, but it involves seclusion. So there's going to have to be, it's like studying. In order to learn a topic, you're going to have to be alone with yourself for a while. But you have this vision. I love this card. You have this vision of where you want to go, and that vision inspires you, and it is successful. So if that message triggers your heart, I want to always explain and read the room. You want to like listen for if this message is for you, then it resonates. Does it speak to you? It really is strongly saying that you're pursuing something, but there's like a solitary journey involved to get there. And that's like, it really is that energy of Venus through the whole month, because we start off with this like very inspiring, like, I don't know, a freshly hatched chicken kind of energy, like, I'm here, world. And then as we get towards November, it becomes more tense and more intense, and the squares start forming, you know, and it starts becoming, oh, this is actually really nice. This is a foreshadow, November 2nd, right? The grand water, another grand water trine. Oh, so we get 2 days of it. Look at this. So we get one grand water trine November 1st in the anaretic degree as Mars and Mercury are moving into fire signs. But look, we have the new moon, and then we get the moon catching a little bit of this. So there's going to be like an afterglow to that new moon. That's really nice. So if you find tension, remember with the new moon, we were kind of talking about some degree of tension or some degree of stress with the opposition of Jupiter. I think there's going to be ways, like, I think social fluidity is like a really good element of what's going on here. So, but this is like a cross to bear. Somebody's picking up the cross. They are going to pursue something. It's going to be successful, but the sacrifice is a little bit of isolation to get it, to get there, to get to that. Okay? All right, so next message. Oops. So we have one card. We have the King of Hearts. That's the new moon in Scorpio too. And then we have the Devil card. Ooh. You know, King of Cups with the Devil. I don't know, man. To me, that could be a messy person. We have the Seven of Angels. Well, I do think that this could be a little bit of Lilith energy, you know, over here. It really is. This is a message for someone. If it doesn't resonate, that's fine. It does feel as though somebody is emotionally, the Man of Cups or the King of Cups can be emotionally turbulent. So if they're not still within themselves, they can be a problem to other people. And what I see here is someone with possibly bad intentions or negativity in their heart. But there's like a running away. So either you get away from them or they get away from you. So if this doesn't resonate, put it behind you. Don't worry. But I do feel as though there's someone lurking around. There's like a lurker. Nah, this is not nice energy. This is someone with just this is someone with like they're not well within themselves. Okay? They could be like looking to exploit, looking to harm, looking to bring problems in. This is the Lilith energy I'm telling you guys about. And this is one of the reasons I did the reading today, because I really feel like this Lilith energy is somewhat problematic through this Venus Sagittarius. You'll be fine through it, but I do think that there's like, but be mindful, you know, just there is a chance of harmful actions. Let's just put it that way. Attempts. I think they're attempts, but you know, stupid people can ruin a lot, right? So it's like, yeah, they're stupid and they're not going to get away with it, blah, blah, blah. But like in the process of trying, they can cause damage. Okay, so here is the next message. We have the universe, the world, and then we have the Three of Stars. Oh, this is a nice message for someone. And then we have the Last Judgment, Pluto. Big decisions. Well, I do feel as though the world is really opening up for someone, or maybe several people. This involves travel, going somewhere really far, kind of opening something like new doors, metaphorically speaking. Maybe practically, maybe you're actually opening a door. But I do feel as though somebody has a vision of something really powerful coming to them. And I feel like it's like branching out into the world, feeling that connection, feeling inspired, and then making like an ultimate decision about something that's really, how do I say, it feels very, I don't want to use like a term. This feels extremely spiritual, okay? This feels as though somebody is making like a higher order decision about something, about closing a chapter in their life, letting something go. They're very much in the state of mind of bringing closure to the past and moving on. They are surrounded by so much good and so much opportunity, and there's such abundance that in that, it's almost like it quiets their soul and they're finally able to say goodbye, or, you know, so somebody's it feels as though, like, if you're experiencing conflict with someone, some of you are going to be in such a good space that you're so ready to just let sleeping dogs lay, sort of speak. If you've been very troubled by a partner, this to me looks like you're so excited about the world, and then you get to this, like, it's the sunrise, and you rise at sunrise, and you look at the sunrise, and you just in your heart say, okay, that's enough of that stress, right? So you have some kind of final moment with yourself and final moment with stress. This can also happen to you. So if somebody has, how do I say this, grievances, or if there is conflict, they feel so empowered and within themselves to put something away. So if somebody's, you know, if you're having conflict with someone, if like a partner that you can't shake, or if there's like a divorce happening and it's grueling on, that person could make a decision and just let it go. So there could be a solution coming. Why don't we do one more and then I'll go. And then we'll do more readings. So I wanted to tell you about Venus and Sag. So we have 8 of trees. And then we have the Emperor. And then we have the King of Hearts. Well. So I feel as though there's a very good connection. And again, this could be the Scorpio new moon. But all those transits on Saturn and Neptune, I think they're very much to do with this as well. The square on Neptune, November 9th, shocks us out of dreamlike thinking about something to do with love. And it brings us back into like hearts, how we actually feel about something. It feels as though somebody's experiencing a profound connection with someone else. There's a deep stability there. There's love. There's nurturing and kind energy, protective energy, and goals are being achieved and goals are being like sought out and met. This is, if this is triggering your heart, this is a confirmation that the connection that you have is very good. So I do feel maybe this is Jupiter opposition. It just feels, if you want like tarot card combinations, this is as stable as it gets for marriage, partnership, stuff like that. So if you've been looking for an omen, this is a very beautiful one. 8 of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the King of Hearts, King of Cups. And they don't have to be a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. They don't have to be an Aries, and they don't have to be a Virgo, but that's the signs associated with those cards. Well, let's end on a high note, because it's like, this was the point of the reading, to bring you guys some light. And I don't know if, I hope so. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And so, it's staying open for everybody to watch. And I hope you guys have a beautiful Venus in Sagittarius. And I'll post more on this on other social media, maybe here on Shorts. I don't know if one of the aspects I talked about was interesting. I'll be happy to do like a short video for you. So just let me know. I'll talk to you guys soon. You guys have a nice night, and we'll be back with an all sign next. Okay? Take care.